Welcome to the From My Stand podcast with Matt Hinkle. Whether you are an avid hunter, a novice, or someone interested in the sport, Matt has a unique perspective to share. Sit back, relax, and kick your boots up as Matt shares what he's seeing from his stand.
Hi friends, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about tree stands or ground blinds. But I want to begin by first of all welcoming all of our new viewers. We've had a couple of shorts and one video that's done really well. It's led to a lot of new subscribers and a lot of new viewers. And so I just want to welcome all of our new viewers and new subscribers. Thanks for your support of this channel. I really appreciate it. And if you're watching and you haven't yet liked or subscribed, turned on your notifications, I would just humbly ask you to do that. The more that this channel grows, the better we're going to be able to make it. But I do want to welcome everybody along for tonight's episode. So tonight we're going to be talking about tree stands or ground blinds. And I'm going to try to answer the question, what I think is better or what I prefer. And this is a matter of opinion. I've told you a number of times on this channel that I did not start this podcast because I think I'm an expert and because I think you need a lecture about the outdoors. That's not at all what this is meant to be. The things I'm going to share with you tonight are just what my hunting journey has looked like, what my opinion on this is, and some of the things that have worked for me. If you've got something that's working for you, don't let me or anybody else on the internet or in the media try to talk you out of it. If it's working for you, stick with it, and don't let anybody talk you out of it. I started bow hunting for white-tailed deer in the Midwest in the early to mid 90s. And so I've been doing this for a long time. And back when I first got into it, it was not nearly as crowded and complex as it is now, meaning there just weren't all the products that we have today. And so I've kind of had a front row seat for how the sport has changed and evolved and the addition of all the new and great products. Back in the day when I first got into hunting, uh, I've always hunted out of a tree stand. I mean, this channel is called From My Stand. So I started hunting out of a tree stand when I was probably 14, 15 years old. So I've been doing that for a long time. And back in the day, there weren't a whole lot of options. Most people used lock-on stands uh, and ladder stands. I remember I had an old ladder stand that was like round tubing. That thing was really heavy, and it was like round steel tubing. And I had one of those. So I had ladder stand. I had a lock-on stand. And then really back in the day, a lot of people used permanent stands. I can remember hunting out of permanent stands where there were just like boards nailed up in the trees. If you're somebody that used to hunt or still does hunt out of permanent stands, maybe leave a comment and let us know. I'd like to know if there's anybody else out there that did things the way we did them. Back in the day, probably what I used the most was a lock-on tree stand with steps that went in the tree. I got out some of the old steps. Now I'm going to show you what they look like. I don't use these much anymore. These screw-in type steps are not legal on public land in my home state. I don't know the laws in other states, but I imagine you're not supposed to use these. But we used to use them a lot back in the day on private land. And I'll just show you what some of those looked like. Maybe the camera can come in. I had a lot of these. This is a three-piece screw-in step. Three pieces, meaning it has and I got to put some oil on it. I can't even bend it, but it's got a piece there, and then your screw for the tree. So I had a bunch of those, use those. Then had a bunch of these two-piece. There's a two-piece. I think that's made by the same manufacturer. And so you can see it's just one piece of steel, and then the second piece is your screw for the tree. This is also an example. I think this was made by a company called Cobra, but it's a one piece there. And this is actually welded. where the other one's just bent. But this one is welded, and then it's got the screw in piece there. And then I had a lot of these. I didn't really like them. They were a real pain to use, but even those old one piece where it's all just one piece kind of bent into an S curve, and it's got the screw out there at the end. And these were probably my least favorite to use, but they worked. We used a lot of that stuff back in the day. Through the process of time, screw in steps kind of fell out of favor. And I remember going through a period of time where we used these rope steps, and I got an example of that out here tonight, where it's just a regular step like those others, and then there was a rope that you would put around the tree. I guess I should have had this a little more organized and tidied before I started shooting the episode, but anyway, I didn't. Where are you at? There you are. Okay. So what you would do with these is you would, put it against the tree, wrap the rope around the tree and hook it in that little loop right there. And then you would use this tail end to just pull it, and it would tighten it up against the tree. And those were pretty popular. A lot of people use those, but I would use those steps and then like lock on stands, either with a ratchet strap or even a chain. I even had one. I inherited it from my dad. It was an older stand in the mid '90s. I think he got it in the '80s, and I think he might have even made it. But it was a lock on stand that had a chain with a turnbuckle in it, so you could put the chain around the tree and then you turn the turnbuckle. So I kind of went through all of that, used all of that equipment. But what are we using today? Because I told you this episode is going to be about tree stand or ground blind. And I'm going to give an answer that probably nobody's going to like, but it is my real answer. It's my real belief on this whole thing. And that is the answer is both. I mean, if you think about it, it's both. Um, Sometimes a tree stand is going to be the better way to go. Sometimes a ground blind is going to be the better way to go. Now, if I was pushed into a corner and made to pick one or the other, I would probably say tree stand for me personally. For one, I'm just more used to it. Two, I just feel like there is a little bit of an advantage being above the animal. You kind of get above their line of sight. It can help with scent, get you out of their scent path. So I probably have done most of my hunting throughout my life for deer out of a tree stand. But ground blinds are a good way to go also. And it kind of depends on the situation. I mean, sometimes you don't have a tree to put a tree stand in. And so a ground blind is the way to go. But I would say both. So what I do in my hunting is I basically hunt out of four different things. And that's what I want to go over in this episode. Now, I will tell you this. One thing that I'm not going to talk about in this episode, and I've never used one, okay, and that is a box blind. Now, that is nothing against box blinds. They are becoming very popular. You're starting to see a lot of good ones out on the market. And I'm not saying anything against box blinds. All I'm saying is I have no experience with them. I've never owned one. I don't even think I've ever hunted out of one. So I just have no experience with that. If you're a box blind hunter, let us know in the comments. I mean, people love them. They're very, very popular. And I must admit, they do look comfortable. They probably better than anything keep you out of the weather, which is, sometimes that would be nice. But I'm going to show you what my setup looks like as far as ground blind tree stand goes. And let's just start with the ground blind. Okay, let me just show you the ground blinds I use. And I will tell you this: my setup is really, really simple. Okay, I know you can get better ones, more elaborate ones. I'm not going to get this thing out, but this is a basic ground blind. I got these a few years ago at Cabela's. I think they're made by Pursuit. Um, it's pretty lightweight. It's pretty mobile. You can put it right around your shoulder like that. It's got shoulder straps, so they're easy to carry in. They're very, very mobile. And I'm not going to drag all this stuff out, but um, it sets up like a pop-up tent. Okay. You get everything out. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's X braces in there that you just put them where they go, push them out, and it makes like a little pop-up tent. They're really, really nice. One thing about this particular ground blind, it didn't come with anything to stake it down to the ground. So I add in one of these pouches, this pouch right here. I'm not gonna get them out, but uh, there's one. I went and got some tent stakes separately, and then I got a little lightweight hammer down there because if you're going to leave it up in the elements, it's a good idea to stake it down. When I first got it, it didn't come with any stakes. I set it up, left for a few days, came back, and it had blown about 60 yards to the east. West wind came in, blew it about 60 yards to the east. And so I had to track it down, put it back together and everything. So nowadays I stake them down if I'm going to leave it. But honestly, you can take this out. My kids have all shot deer out of this. I've shot deer out of this, and I've shot several turkeys out of this. And this thing is so mobile that you can take it out, set it up, hunt for a day, break it down, take it out with you. It's really easy to use even for just one day. So this is, well, yeah, it is. It's Pursuit by Cabela's. And these are really, really handy. And if I remember correctly, at least when I bought these, they were under $100. So it's a pretty good value. I really am a big fan of that. I told you that I prefer to hunt out of a tree stand most of the time, but ground blinds are a great way to go, and that is a really good one. Now, as far as my tree stand hunting goes, I use three different kinds, and I use all three of these. Okay, I've got two of them in here to show you tonight, and then the third type. Let me just tell you about it right now. I don't have one in here. They're pretty big, and that is the ladder stand. Now, I'm a big fan of ladder stands. They're really, really good. They're very safe. If you're going to hunt out of a tree stand this fall, safety should be your number one priority. Listen, yes, there are hunters that are injured with guns and bows, and there's a lot of ways to have accidents in the woods, but probably one of the most common ways people get hurt in the woods are falls out of tree stands. And so make sure that you're following the manufacturer's recommendations when you put them up and take them down. Also, make sure that you're always tied off with a harness, and that you have a good fall arrest system that will keep you from falling out of that. Every year, hunters are killed falling out of tree stands. Every year, hunters are injured for the rest of their life taking falls out of tree stands. Don't let that be you. Make sure that safety is your top priority. I like ladder stands because they're once they're up, they're probably the hardest stands to put up. But once they're up, and they're very safe. They're easy to get in and out of. If you've got youngsters that are starting to get into tree stand hunting, ladder stands are a great way to go. I have ladder stands. I don't have any in here to show you tonight because they're in the woods. They're up right now. It is hunting season right now, and so the ladder stands are up. But that is one type of tree stand. We use them in our hunting, and they can be really, really good. Another type of stand is a climbing stand. This is a Summit Climber. It's really lightweight. This is two pieces. I'm not going to take it apart for you for this episode, but it is two pieces. They fit together. They join up really nice. And then I just use a bungee cord to hook them together. This thing is really light. It's pretty quiet. It's easy to carry around in the woods. And if I'm hunting on public land, a climber is my favorite type of stand. I really don't like leaving stuff in the woods on public land. And also on public land, you better not just have plan A, you better have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, because you don't know where other hunters are going to be. You might have a tree picked out in the preseason that you think you're going to go and hunt. And then when you get out there in the first week, you realize other people had the same idea. So you better be ready to move. I like climbers because they're mobile. You can change plans very quickly, and you can carry it in, carry it out with you. You don't have to leave anything in the woods because let's be honest, people steal things And so you can keep these with you. And really, I mean, if you're in reasonably good health, these are not real hard to pack in and pack out. Um, and so I really like this one. It's a great climber. And so I do use climbers a lot, mostly on public land. I don't use them much on private land because it's just it's so convenient to set something up and leave it up, and it's just up, and you don't have to worry about it because there is a little bit of an inconvenience factor with the climber stand, but there are a lot of many great advantages to it. So I like this climber stand. All right, my absolute favorite. This is what I use more than anything else is a lock-on tree stand. Now I told you back in the day, I just showed you the steps. I used to use those. Nowadays we have climbing sticks, and this is one of my rigs. This is one of my setups. And this is usually how I try to keep them. I've got my tree stand on there. I've got 5 climbing sticks. They're all 4 foot long. So this would work out to about 20 feet worth of climbing sticks. So you can hunt, your tree stand platform can be anywhere from like 18 to, I mean, even 21. Although I usually try to set my stand just below the top of my steps because I like to step down onto a stand instead of, trying to step up into a stand. I think it's a little bit safer. But I got 5 of these climbing sticks on here. Now, these are a little bit older. They're making super lightweight climbing sticks nowadays. Now, they're a little bit expensive. I saw a set the other day for about $200. That's more than we used to pay for them, but they're so lightweight. They're so portable. Also, Muddy makes individual steps with like a nylon strap. Those are really nice. But I like these climbing sticks. They're real easy to set up. You can set them up quietly, you can set them up quickly, and they're pretty easy to set up. Now, I have got an I've got an old style tree stand here that I'm showing you. Just know that this is a lock-on stand. They don't really look like this anymore, but this was probably my favorite style stand I've ever hunted with. I think they called them the A frames. This was made by a company called Lock On. Now, these were really popular about 30 years ago. This stand is not 30 years old. Well, it might be 30 years old, but it hasn't been hunted with 30 years. This is what you call new old stock. Okay. They don't really make these anymore, but I got my hands on one and I've only used it for a few seasons, but it's a chain on. And man, they are lightweight. They're easy to set up. But I mean, there's a lot of different lock-on stands that are out today. Lone Wolf makes some great stands. Big Game makes great stands. Muddy makes great. There's no sponsors on this channel, and so I'm not really pushing only one brand or another on this channel. I mean, there's a lot of good lock-on stands that you can get your hands on. This is one of my favorite styles. But what I do is I just put all my climbing sticks together, use a ratchet strap, tie it all together. This is a little bit heavier than a climber, but as you can see, it's very lightweight. It's easy to carry. You can carry this a long way in the woods. It's a little heavier than a climber, but it's a lot lighter than a ladder stand. And so, what you're going to have to do is just weigh the pros and cons of your individual situation. So you say, Matt, what's better, tree stand or blind? Depends on the situation. The tree stands, which one's better? Ladder stand, lock on stand, climber stand? It depends on the situation. I'm not really a golfer, but I know a lot of golfers. My son's kind of gotten into golf. And, if you've ever looked in a golf bag, there's a lot of different clubs. They got drivers, there's 9 iron, there's 5 iron, there's pitch and wedge, there's a putter. There's different tools for different jobs, and that's the way I look at tree stands and ground blinds. I mean, they're just they're going to offer different things to you, and so what you're going to want to do is select the best option for your terrain, for the wind direction, for all the things that you do in your pre-planning, and then just pick the right setup and go with that. What I've tried to do in this episode is just kind of show you what's out there, what I use. There's more out there. I'll be honest with you. About half the deer I've killed in my lifetime, I was using none of this stuff. About half the deer that I've killed, I was standing next to a tree. We used to, on a piece of property I used to hunt years ago. There was this tree, and I don't know. I never did really figure out exactly why this spot was so good, but I shot like five, maybe six. I can't even remember, 5 or 6 deer leaning against the same tree. I wasn't in a tree stand, wasn't in a ground blind. I was just leaning against a tree and being still, and it was just a really really good spot. I shot deer many many years in that spot with none of this stuff. So you're just gonna have to decide for yourself what's the best. I mean, are you hunting public or private? That's going to determine some of it, but there's a lot of great equipment out there to choose from. We live in a great time right now as hunters because there is so much good uh, um, out there that we can use in the way of stands, blinds, even saddles. I mean, if you're a saddle hunter, let us know in the comments. I know nothing about that. I haven't gotten into that. It's kind of well, it's not a new thing. Guys have been doing it for a long time, but it's recently gotten very popular. I haven't gotten into it. Okay. So I'm just being honest with you. But there's a lot of ways to get close to deer. And so we're blessed to live in the time we live in because there's a lot of tools at our disposal. There's a lot of ways. Whatever's going to get you close enough to that deer to put a clean, ethical, legal shot through his vitals, that's the thing you need to be using. That's how I'm going to answer that question. I hope your season is going well. We're a couple weeks in here in my home state. I've not been out yet. I told you in one of the previous episodes, my wife had surgery about 3 weeks ago, and her surgery went well. It was a pretty, um, not a routine surgery, but it's a common type of surgery. And so we kind of expected a quick recovery, but she's had some complications. So she's been having a rough time. I haven't gotten out in the woods yet. Thinking maybe a few weeks might be able to get out and get this thing going. But I hope you're having a great season this year. If you've had success, share a picture with us in the comments. We would love to see how your season is going. And be safe out there. Tree stands are a great tool, but they can be really dangerous. Please be safe out there in the woods. You don't want to become a statistic. To all of our new viewers, welcome. We're so glad to have you. Old viewers, thank you for your support. Thank you for your consistency. We really, really appreciate it. Well, I hope this episode's been a help to you in some way. And I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and that's how I see it from my stand.
Thank you for listening today. Be sure to tell your buddies and follow us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Y'all take care.